Welcome to my new YouTube channel, in which in the coming months it's all going to be about the rethinking the economic ground theory and coming up with some new empiric methods, and we'll also be talking about the basic income or the future of work, the future of the social system, and also about political topics like scandals, as the question how does the German government treat humans in poverty? How does the government use the capitalistic theory against these? And I would want to show you a few new insights to inspire and show a new vision of what could possibly happen after capitalism, a third path that has nothing to do with a socialistic or a neoliberal approach. And I'll be very happy to show you some more insights here, and well, so welcome, and let's start. The capitalistic theory is too primitive for a complex world. This could change everything. I would now like to explain the relationship between complexity and circulatory systems. I'd like to explain this because of the high misunderstanding of circulatory systems in modern markets like the capitalism. So, circulatory systems are built as a recycling, as a ever-repeating, integrated process. And in these integrated processes, what already have as building blocks or patterns is reintegrated again and again and again in new individual way. And in this process you have intersections which play a very important role because they do allow transferability of existing patterns and existing information. So what was here is now new integrated into this and that makes transferable and allows an ecosystem to reproduce itself out of the already existing patterns within, not needing patterns and building blocks from the outside, which would follow or lead to a falling apart of the entire system. So what we have here is individual structures, always built on the already known traditional or inner structures, as you would see in nature in the way rivers split or branches split, and the way you have similar structures throughout all nature. This new and integration, if the threshold is low and all aspects in the circulatory system have a similar value, then you only need low level to reintegrate, low level to have the ability to sort of get resources. And this low-level approach with low thresholds does, or is the basic, to allow synergies. If you don't have a low threshold, you don't get these synergies. That's very central that this keeps running, that keeps available. And nothing just belongs to one thing. Everything is needed also for something else. And in all these overlappings, as you see, their structures carried back in, reused in a different way. And that's why ecosystems are built like an origami system, enfoldings, which means that everything is more or less built on the same basis. That's important to understand, because that makes it possible for higher complex patterns to be created. As I said, without the whole ecosystem falling apart. That's very, very important. That means only if we keep the system with low threshold and low level energy, we will only be able to build complex systems. And on the other hand, if this is blocked like in a capitalistic system, where you would just take one building block and say, well, this is the only important thing, the most important, the extremely important thing, like money rules the world or similar things, then you would have a threshold that would be too high, and you would need more energy to get over it. So you need more energy in work, as an example. That would destroy the system. So why is that important to understand? The formula out of this is the more difficult life is, the higher life costs are, the more difficult it is to find work, the more narrow the market is, the higher the threshold is to get over to resources, the more primitive, the more destructive, the more simplified the system is in which humans must work and live. So, if we want a working ecosystem, the threshold has to be low to arise the complexity. The problem is the capitalistic market does not want that, because capitalism wants high profits, and you can only have high profits if you have a high threshold. That means capitalism will always produce a more primitive system, and that's the problem. That's why we have to rethink and decide, do we want a complex working ecosystem that can reintegrate permeability, where permeability is working? Or do we want capitalism that needs high single profit to construct high value and to block the system? We can't have both. We can't have a working ecosystem, on the other hand, an ecology that is based on success principles. That's why it's so important to understand that, and that's why in the next months and weeks I want to bring more of these ideas so we can rethink and get rid of the myths inside the system, because that is very important. If you want to know more about this, you can buy my book, Radical Worker, about self-determined work. In this, the experiment of trying to sort of define a new kind of economy, a new basis in the economic theory. And yes, have fun with that, and thank you a lot. Goodbye.